You put in 40 hours a week, you stress over the rising cost of groceries, and every time you get paid, a significant portion of your income goes straight to taxes. In this visible economy, the government tracks and audits every dollar you earn. The rules are rigid, and if you make a mistake on a tax filing, you pay the penalty. While every transaction in this system is logged and visible, there is a parallel universe of wealth that operates in near-total anonymity. This is the offshore system, a structure utilized by the ultra-wealthy to manage and hoard assets away from the eyes of standard tax authorities. A decade ago, the Panama Papers leak exposed how a global network of politicians and syndicates used offshore law firms to hide their financial footprints. The sheer volume of leaked documents led to a widespread assumption that the days of the shadow economy were numbered. 10 years later, the offshore economy has evolved and adapted to the new landscape. The costs of maintaining a nation's infrastructure, its roads, schools, and safety, remain constant even when wealth is hidden. This tax burden has to land somewhere else. This system's survival depends on a specific legal tool, the shell company. A shell company exists strictly as paperwork. It has no employees, no physical products, and no local office, serving only as a vehicle for financial transactions. To hide the trail, lawyers layer these entities across multiple jurisdictions. They place a bag of money inside Company A, which is then nested inside Company B, and finally buried inside Company C on a remote island. This nesting process is designed to obscure the beneficial owner, the actual human being who controls the assets. This nested structure creates a deliberate architecture of anonymity, functioning exactly as the lawyers who manage it intend. There have been some localized victories in the last decade. Investigative work following the leak helped convict certain enablers and even led to the recovery of assets like Nazi-eluded artwork. However, a recent report from the OCCRP highlights a different trend. European lawmakers are now retreating from the corporate transparency standards they once championed. In several jurisdictions, governments are actively restricting public access to the registries that show who actually owns these shell companies. Transparency International warns that these legal rollbacks allow dirty money to flow through the financial system once again with minimal scrutiny. By prioritizing corporate secrecy over public access, these governments are reinforcing the walls that protect elite wealth from external oversight. When billionaires shift their money to offshore accounts, the financial weight of the state shifts downward. Modern economies function by relying on a massive population of what documentarian Jake Tran describes as willing cogs. A country requires a steady labor force to perform the day-to-day work of maintaining infrastructure, building roads, and providing essential services. A middle class burdened by debt and consistent taxes creates a stable, perpetual labor force. Their collective contributions become the primary source of funding for the national budget, covering the costs of government operations that the offshore elite effectively bypass. In this dual reality, the working class provides the energy that generates wealth, while the offshore system ensures the elite can extract and keep it. The Panama Papers provided the evidence needed for a global overhaul, yet the underlying architecture of offshore wealth remains operational today. As long as beneficial ownership remains a guarded secret, the world's wealthiest individuals will continue to operate under different rules. The global financial system is operating exactly as designed.